As a teenager, what was the worst thing your parents ever walked in on you doing? When I was but a nipper, 14-15, I had the really great idea of making some sweet booze in my bedroom. To the shops I went and returned with glucose powder and bread yeast, which I mixed in a 500 milliliters plastic bottle with a sports cap, with the top popped open so the carbon dioxide could get out. I shoved some cotton wool under the sports cap, for hygiene. Or something. My classy brew was assembled, I stashed it away at the back of the filing cabinet and left it for a week. A week turned out to be the perfect amount of time for everything to go horribly wrong. The yeast took to the glucose with gusto and formed a thick layer filling the top of the bottle, with the consistency, texture and color of rather chunky puke. I didn't really understand I'd done, I just knew it was unholy and that I had to get rid of it. But first I wanted a sniff, maybe a little poke at this plug of chunky puke facsimile filling the top half of the bottle. I eased the top off. Now, it turns out that my fastidious attention to hygiene had left the bottle somewhat airtight, as my bottle of what was essentially prison wine had been brewing. The carbon dioxide had been building up and building up and building up. I'm sure you know where this is going. The cap exploded off, the bottle vomited up its yeasty cargo with a muted bang, spilling the material all over the ceiling and walls and releasing the most horrific smell. I watched helpless as the fountainhead gushed forth and by mine own hand coated every single one of my possessions in a thick layer of barf that was not barf, but something worse. I stood, my maw agape, caught entirely in that rapturous moment where one knows that one has completely and utterly effed up, watching. As powerless to stop the F up as to stop the slow winding down of time. I managed to hide it for about 3 hours while I furiously scurried back and forth between the bathroom and my bedroom with toilet roll and soap, trying to unmake my folly. There were a few close shaves, a few conversations with my parents with my head peeking innocent round the door. But of course, I was caught. I made a sortie to get more toilet roll. While I was away, my mum came into the room with some washing. I returned to see her standing in the middle of the room, staring, her mouth yawning like the gates of hell. Her glazed and fish-like eyes that saw but did not believe. Enshrined in the center of the floor-to-ceiling spattered vomitorium, Brahma floating uncomprehendingly through the eternal, primordial chaos, I remember those words as she turned and her eyes met mine. I remember the feel of the toilet roll between my fingers, clutched tightly as my aegis as I stuttered I was trying to clean. And there, backlit by the corruption crusting all 6 faces of my room, she mouthed, "Oh my God."